Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jeff Rains coming to you again with Foundation of Civilization. I wanted to address something that recently happened that without a lot of fanfare. In fact, it was during the hurricane. While the hurricane was unfolding, a different type of problem was unfolding in Washington D.C. Imagine that. Our politicians are creating the bigger problems for us. Let me go back in history first. I want to address something. Caesar, Julius Caesar, when he crossed the Rubicon, and I didn't understand this quite at the time, but when he crossed the Rubicon and he made his famous pronouncement that the die is cast, that was the time when Rome transitioned from a republic to an empire. I didn't quite grasp that Julius Caesar was actually a dictator. He was a he would ta- he had a tremendous amount of money. He wanted to maintain that tremendous amount of money, and Rome had a law that said you cannot bring military forces into the capital. And he decided, okay, I'm going to violate that law, and he did. And Rome was never the same. The Senate repaid Julius Caesar by stabbing him in the Senate. Now, here in the United States, we've had a similar law that the military cannot be used against U.S. citizens. Law enforcement has to have a reason to arrest people. They can't just go around and deciding that they don't like somebody and they're going to lock them up. This has been our law for the longest time. Uh, Military can't be used. That's to protect the citizens, to protect their rights. Now, there was a time when this was kind of overlooked. During the Civil War, people's rights were trampled on, especially Southerners' rights were trampled on. The military authorities, the military commanders, had organized a judicial system and tried former uh, Southern soldiers. Um, During this was during Reconstruction. Um, there were many of the former Southern leaders that were brought before military tribunals. Well, during the mess that was Hurricane Helene, the Biden administration has now authorized the use of lethal force against citizens. And I read through the whole directive and took it with the perspective from my military background. And uh, while most of the directive talks about respecting citizens' rights, it it's rather explicit. It's rather explicit about maintaining citizens' rights. But then we get to paragraph 3.3.A.2.C. And I'll just read it for you, and you can go and look it up yourself. It's Military Directive 5240.01. DoD intelligence and intelligence related activities and defense intelligence component assistance to law enforcement agencies and other civil authorities, dated September 27th, 2024. The particular paragraph in question states assistance in responding with assets with potential for lethality or any situation in which it is reasonably foreseeable that providing the requested assistance may involve the use of force that is likely to result in lethal force, including death or seriously bodily injury. It also includes all support to civilian law enforcement officials in situations where a confrontation between civilian law enforcement and civilian individuals or groups is reasonably anticipated. Such use of force must be in accordance with DoD 5210.56, potentially as further restricted based on the specifics of the requested support. So in this directive 5240.01, it states that the intelligence agencies can provide support even if it looks like the support to law enforcement agencies is going to end in lethal uh, consequences. Now, I know what's happening here. You've got some military commander somewhere who said, "Hey, we could have a problem, and so we need to cover ourselves." And so they're putting this into a legal document, or they are documenting this in their directives. I wonder though if these military commanders are would feel the same way if roles were reversed. If the uh, if they ended up being the civilians that a an organized force was used against, uh, something something has gone very wrong in our country, and I do not believe that this is a I don't believe this is a good idea. In fact, I think this is probably just the first shoe to drop. I believe that you're going to see many more documents that are going to authorize lethal force. This is not a good sign. For over 200 years, we have maintained that the military had to or could not be used against civilians. This opens up the opportunity for military to be used against civilians, and I don't believe that it will end well. I encourage you to get a hold of your senators and representatives and let them know that you're not happy about it. My I got to find out exactly who's going to be my next representative because my current one has decided that he's going to quit and he is not running for re-election. I'm not real excited about his likely replacement either. So please, ladies and gentlemen, keep updated, keep informed, and let your friends and family know of what's going on. Please have them like, share, subscribe. This is Jeff Rains again with Foundation of Civilization. Please keep paying attention to what's happening in our world. There are a lot of things going on overseas, and I've got to do a little bit of digging on the how China and the BRICS nations are making some huge advancements. And much love to everybody, and I hope that you guys are preparing and getting ready for the struggles ahead. Thanks again. This is Jeff Rains with Foundation of Civilization.